stay and play at Aquarius Casino Resort. On the banks of the scenic Colorado River, every stay at Aquarius is a winning experience with 15 Best of Awards. In hotel, gaming, and dining, our guests enjoy the beautiful Riverwalk, remarkably affordable room rates, and over $2 to $3 million in hand-paid jackpots each month. Will you be next? Book your stay at AquariusCasinoResort.com today.
College football fans, Chris Fowler here with the play call. This season, go for Dose with ice-cold, refreshing Dos Equis. It's more than a single play. It's a mindset. Think of it as a 2-point conversion for real life. Taking the risk, making the bold move. Whenever we get the chance to go big, we take it. On the field and off, always go for Dose with Dos Equis.
Enjoy Dos Equis responsibly. Copyright 2024 Dos Equis Lager Especial Beer. Imported by Cervezas Mexicanas, White Plains, New York.
License number 146316.
That's right. As long as it's inspected once a year, if you're fired or fails to work as intended, we are responsible. No problem at all. We'll be right out. Jeannie, I want to make a wish.
Hey, Joshua, what do you need?
I wish that... Wait, still blue?
Yes, but still can't do magic since the stupid Genie Eye Council took it away for not having my lamp inspected.
Aw, Jeannie.
Can't get an inspector till next month.
Next month?
How come ASAP is so fast?
Because with our annual safety and adjustment programs, our customers have scheduled inspections every year. No rush needed.
Shucks, you guys are so good at that.
And if any door doesn't work the way it's intended, we are responsible for it.
ASAP, commercialdoors.com.
Tasha.
Yes, Jeannie. What do you need?
ASAP should get certified to inspect magical lamps.
Hi, I'm Tom Horn, Arizona Superintendent of Schools. My job is to further improve Arizona's already excellent public schools. But if your school is not meeting your child's needs, you have choices.
The ESA program really helped my children because it actually gave us a choice with transportation, uniforms, with their one-on-one experience with their teachers.
There's not as many kids, so you can go to a teacher and ask questions and not have to wait that long.
Learn more about ESAs at azed.gov.
Unbelievable savings at Superstar Car Wash. Lock in unlimited car washes for just $15 a month with our Clean Plan. Available at any of our 51 Arizona locations or online. Visit superstarcarwash.com for details. Terms and conditions apply.
AM 1060 KDUS Tempe Phoenix and KSLX HD2 Scottsdale Phoenix. It's the lunch break.
Oh, yeah. Wednesday edition of the lunch break. KDUS AM 1060. Chris Schubert here with you. Made it to the middle of the week. A jam-packed edition of the show here today. Because if you missed it yesterday on the show, some terrible news. I'm not here the rest of the week. A pre-planned trip from months and months ago. I will be out of town both tomorrow and Friday. So we are jamming in basically the Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday editions of the show all into the next 2 hours. And we appreciate you joining us here on the lunch break. You want to join the conversation, 602-260-1060 is the phone number for you to join the conversation. We've got Suns talk to get into here today on the show. We're going to talk some Cardinals and the Dolphins, their next matchup. I'm going to continue to rally against this movement that is going on in the NFL media to make the Cardinals sellers at the trade deadline. Another story today about that. We're going to make our picks here today on the show. We're going to do the NFL look ahead. It's another edition of Off the Fence. There's just so much to get into. So where are we going to start with the Daily Special?
Time for our top story of the day. It's the Daily Special.
Well, there's only one place to start, right? And that is the season that is going to get underway tonight for the Phoenix Suns. The NBA season got underway last night. Bronny and LeBron taking the court in LA as they beat the Minnesota Timberwolves. And then you also had the Knicks get destroyed by the Celtics as they raised their banner. So all of that got underway last night. And tonight, it is the Phoenix Suns getting their season underway for what I am choosing to call here today on the show a redemption season. That is the mantra that I think this 2024-2025 Phoenix Suns team should have. That is how I think they should view this season, as a redemption year. Because last year was supposed to be a huge breakthrough for this franchise. They make it to the NBA Finals. They blow a 2-0 lead to the Milwaukee Bucks. Things don't necessarily end positively in the Monty Williams era. So it's a new chapter in 2023 and 2024. It's Kevin Durant is here for a full season. Bradley Beal is acquired in the summer. Frank Vogel, a championship-winning, championship-caliber coach, is brought in here to oversee this group of superstars, this talented roster that this front office put together for 2023, 2024. And I really feel at no point during the year we felt like this team was going to meet those early summer and early season expectations. You could just feel it when watching this team play. You could feel that they were a team that was going to miss the mark because the injuries piled up again. You didn't feel great about watching this team in the fourth quarter of closely contested games. You didn't feel like this was a team that was ready to go back to the top of the mountain. But this time, make those final few steps to climb to the tippy top and stand alone as the NBA champion. You never felt that way. At least I didn't. Along that journey last year, there was never that full buy-in. It was sort of a slow fade as the year continued to progress of this team is not what we thought they were. This team, yeah, they're going to probably find their way into the playoffs. We thought for a brief moment it was going to be via the play-in tournament. That was going to carry its own set of baggage. They were able to avoid that, but then they get swept out of the first round, and all you are left feeling is disappointment. Disappointment that all throughout the year, it was just a slow march towards what felt like a really clear conclusion, that this team was not championship caliber. Not because of the talent. It just didn't all fit. It didn't all gel in enough time for them to go on that run. So that is why the framework for this season is redemption, because the front office chose to sort of run it back. They did not blow up the big three. They kept Booker. They kept Durant. They kept Beal. They did not trade any of those guys. They did not entertain the Houston Rockets being interested in Kevin Durant around the time of the NBA draft. They continued along the path that they felt gave them an opportunity to win a championship. They made the necessary additions to address areas of need. They got Tyus Jones and Monte Morrison here to bring veteran point guard play to a team that lacked veteran point guard play, that lacked a veteran ball handler in key moments in the fourth quarter of close games. They added a 3-and-D type player in Ryan Dunn, albeit a rookie, but they added a player whose defense should help them on a side of the ball that was a problem at times in the second half. So they ran it back, but made the necessary key adjustments. And I think they made the biggest adjustment of them all is they changed their coach. They made what I thought was the right decision in changing who was the guy on the bench for this team. Frank Vogel, while having a championship ring, just never felt like a coach that was getting the most out of this roster, that was putting this roster in the right positions to be successful. And so they make a change after taking a year off. Mike Budenholzer returns to the coaching ranks, and he brings a different type of coaching acumen to this Phoenix Suns team. He brings an offensive-minded approach. He brings a, we are going to shoot a ton of three-pointers approach. Yes, Devin Booker, you're great in the mid-range. Kevin Durant, you thrive in the mid-range. We are going to take more threes as a team. That is who we are. That is our offensive philosophy. That is our identity as a basketball team. So a reinvestment in the head coach, a reinvestment in terms of acquiring talent to help win now, and a march towards trying to reach those expectations that were set forth last season. And the other reason why it's redemption is because Devin Booker is still waiting to win a championship. He is still disrespected at large by the national NBA media, by those in other cities. The Phoenix Suns don't have the national respect yet as a winning franchise. Matt Ishbia is attempting to change that, but it's results that get you to that place, not getting swept in the first round. So that is why there is redemption associated with this team. Devin Booker is looking for redemption. I think Kevin Durant is looking for redemption. I think a lot of people view that first championship he won in Golden State as, yeah, you got your ring, but you kind of joined a team that was already great, was already in progress. And so this is his opportunity to be a leader, to be a front runner, to be a star, a captain, a top of the ticket person for a team winning a championship. So there's redemption for Kevin Durant. There's redemption for Bradley Beal to shake the stigma of a player who can't stay healthy, whose inability to stay on the court is going to impact how he is viewed by the league at large. There's redemption for him. There is redemption across the board for this team. So the way that we are going to position this team, or at least on this show, we're going to position this team for 2024, 2025, is a team looking for redemption. Now, when you are looking for redemption, you are extremely motivated. And I think this group is extremely motivated. I think it's a motivated owner. It's a motivated front office. It's a motivated coach. It's motivated players. Does it all gel right away with a new coach? No, I think these things take time. So tonight will be a great first litmus test against a defensive-minded Clippers organization to see how they stand up. I mean, the Knicks last night are supposed to be the number 2 team in the Eastern Conference. They got blown out by the Celtics. Are we going to immediately write off the Knicks and what they are doing after one game? No, we are not. So we are not going to do the same thing for the Phoenix Suns. But we do want to see what this is going to look like. And if they're able to win this game and look impressive doing so, then that is going to, I think, further this belief that they made the right decisions attempting to run this back. So a season of redemption for the Phoenix Suns organization, a season of redemption for Mike Budenholzer as a coach, a season of redemption for the star players on this team. And that is the backdrop that I think we are going to take in this season for the Phoenix Suns. Now, can they live up to that redemption? Can they complete their redemption arc? We will see over the course of the season. But that is the way I'm looking at this season as it tips off tonight when they take on the Clippers. There's a football game going on this weekend. Our first look at the upcoming opponent for the Arizona Cardinals, a little know your foe, a look at the Miami Dolphins. We'll do it next here on the lunch break, KDUS AM 1060.
Your caddy, Ray Adams, takes you beyond the 18th hole on Saturday mornings with Great American Golf from 6 to 7 a.m. on KDUS AM 1060.
Breaking news, and this one is almost unbelievable.
Yeah, it's all about new customers at Bet365 because they get $200 in bonus bets when they bet $5. And even better, bonus bets can be used on the spread, totals, and player props.
There you have it. Bet $5 to get $200 in bonus bet. And see why. It's never ordinary at Bet365. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP. 21 plus only. Must be physically located in Arizona. Terms and conditions apply.
There are many signs that you may be in financial trouble. Late mortgage payments, paying bills from your retirement account, or paying one credit card with another. If you're experiencing financial hardship, bankruptcy may be right for you. The credit industry wants you to believe that bankruptcy is bad and will destroy your credit forever, but that's just not true. At Lerner Rowe Law Group, we'll take the time to carefully examine your situation and develop a plan that is right for you. Call Lerner Rowe Law Group today for a free consultation.
Lerner & Rowe is the way to go. Call 977-1900.
Sean Forster, Managing Attorney.
If you're a skilled trade person with a journeyman card from a registered apprenticeship, we've got an exciting opportunity just for you from Gateway Community College. Introducing the Journeyman to Associate's degree program at Gateway, where your expertise earns you more than just a paycheck. Our Credit for Prior Learning program allows you to turn your industry credentials into college credit, putting you on the fast track to earning an associate degree without starting from square one. To see if you qualify, visit gatewaycc.edu/journeyman. That's gatewaycc.edu/journeyman to get started. Gateway, Maricopa Community College.
This holiday season, the Arizona Lottery is celebrating the little things with holiday scratchers like joy, happiness, giving, and a dash of fun. With the chance to win up to $500,000 and an all-expense-paid trip to Hawaii with the Hawaiian Holiday Giveaway. Give the gift of joy with Arizona Lottery's Holiday Scratchers. Visit ArizonaLottery.com to find a retailer near you.
Have you downloaded the KDUS AM 1060 skill for Alexa yet?
Dude,
Alexa is frustrated. No matter how many times do you ask, the answer is male, chicken.
Once you're ready, say Alexa, open KTUS AM 1060 to listen to your favorite shows.
Welcome back to the lunch break. Chris Schubert here with you. KDUS AM 1060. Make sure you download the KDUS AM 1060 app so you can join the program however, wherever, whenever you would like. We're going to have the podcast up there. We're working behind the scenes to get all of our YouTube content, the podcast. You can listen live, all of that stuff. We're going to continue to roll out here over the next couple of weeks. So get in on the ground floor. Download the KDUS AM 1060 app. Got a lot of cool stuff both on there right now, but coming here over the next couple of weeks. The Arizona Cardinals, after a big win on Monday night, find themselves at 3-4, just one game back of the Seattle Seahawks for first place in the NFC West. And there's a lot of talk about this team still being sellers. We're going to talk about this a little bit in hour number 2, but I continue to be incredibly frustrated by the narrative that is being pushed out there that this team should still be sellers and that they should trade players like Budda Baker. Again, we're going to get to it a little bit later on here on the show, but I just cannot see how that is the right course of action for this team as things currently stand. But it is a matchup with the Miami Dolphins up next for this team. And just like we did last week with the Chargers, we will look at the Miami Dolphins. We will preview what they are good at, what they aren't good at, really where they are as a team entering this matchup against the Cardinals on Sunday. Now, just coming off of a loss to the Indianapolis Colts, had a 10-0 lead, lose 16-10. And we're going to go through all the numbers. And I'm just going to tell you up front, the offensive numbers I'm going to provide to you lack some context. Now, we're going to add that context because it's very clear context. When I read the numbers to you, you're going to know the context that needs to be added. And that's really where this conversation is going to lead us to, because it is really the thing that is hovering over this matchup more than anything else. But let's do what we do. Let's give the numbers. Let's preview this team. And through week 7, statistically, again, needing the context, this is the worst offense in football. 32nd in points per game, 32nd in touchdowns per game, 32nd in red zone scoring, meaning when you get down to the red zone, how often are you turning them into touchdowns? Worst at that. 32nd in fourth down conversions. Just a bad offense across the board. The run game's not bad. 11th in rush yards per game, 12th in rush play percentage, 7th in rushing attempts per game. But their passing game is abysmal. Again, you're going to see the context that needs to be added here. 27th in completion percentage, 25th in yards per pass, 27th in pass yards per game. Their offense, a bad unit up to this point of the season. Their defense, that is the strength. That's what's allowed them to not completely fall off of a cliff. 14th in points per game, 4th in yards per game, 7th in yards per play. Their run defense, 17th in rush yards per game. Their pass defense, top notch. 1st in pass yards per game, 3rd in opposing teams' completion percentage. This is a pass defense that makes it difficult on the opposing quarterback. But the elephant in the room around this team is the status of Tua Tagovailoa, who we know is attempting to return to the Miami Dolphins this week. That is why their offense is the worst offense in football. They went from being a team that when he is healthy, with Tyreek Hill, with Jalen Waddle, with Devon Achane, with Raheem Mostert, being one of the more dynamic, prolific, statistical juggernaut offenses in the league, a team you do not want to have to play when everybody is healthy and on the field together because they provide so many challenges. Oh, we're gonna bracket coverage Tyreek Hill. Okay, then that's just gonna leave Jalen Waddle open. Oh, we also have to worry about the run because they have a young back in Devon Achane who is a game breaker, has that game-changing speed, and Raheem Mostert, pass catcher out of the backfield. They have so many ways to beat you. That is what they are when they are completely healthy. You remove Tua from the equation. And it's not like Tua, from a sheer talent perspective, is one of the best quarterbacks in all of football, but he makes that offense hum. He understands the system that Mike McDaniel wants to run. He runs the system so well. And I'm not calling Tua a system quarterback, but Mike McDaniel has a certain way that he likes to call a game and a certain way he wants his offense to run. And Tua does it extremely well. And so when Tua is under center, when Tua is the signal caller, things just work the way that they're supposed to. Things are on time the way that they are supposed to. Things work the way that they are supposed to, and they can put up all of those gaudy numbers that you see from them on a weekly basis. So you take Tua out of the equation, and everything falls apart. They still have Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. They played, I don't know if it was this week or last week. The games all kind of blurred together for me. But there was a game in which it was late into the second half, into the fourth quarter. Jalen Waddle hadn't had a catch yet, hadn't had a target yet. You got too much talent on the offensive side of the ball for that to be the case. But that's the difference a quarterback makes. And so Tua is attempting to make his return. It looks like he's going to make his return for the Dolphins this week. So here is where the rubber meets the road for this matchup. Is this a Dolphins team that, since Tua suffered his concussion, was placed on IR and missed all of that time, is this a team that during that phase, other holes, other warts about their coach, about the rest of their offense, about other parts of their team, have those emerged to where opposing teams can game plan for them better? Or, more importantly, and this is the $64,000 question that I don't think any of us can answer, but what is the status of that locker room from a morale perspective? Has this whole experience of watching Tua get hurt again, watching him miss time, playing so poorly. I mean, they have one win during this stretch where they beat the Patriots. They did not play well in that game. The Patriots could have very easily beaten them. So what is morale like in that room? Do they still believe that they can make noise in the AFC? Are they defeated because they're 2-4 and they're 9th or 10th in the AFC and they're looking up at a lot of teams? They're looking up and saying, man, the division's probably out of hand at this point. We're playing for a wild card spot. Is their morale completely gone? What is the culture like in that room? You don't know. You don't know if they're a defeated team at this point. They're getting their starting quarterback back. That should probably infuse some energy into the team. But who knows if over the last couple of weeks with how poorly they have played, if it is a snowball that has started to roll down the hill and Tua might try to stop it, but it's just going to continue to roll. We don't know. I'll tell you this, not a bad time to play the Dolphins. I know Tua is just coming back, but there's rust that he's going to have to shake off. There is the realignment that this offense is going to have to do after playing with Skylar Thompson and Tyler Huntley for the last couple of weeks. There is coaching confidence that probably needs to be reinstalled, right? You're Mike McDaniel. You have an offense that works under Tua. You now have Skylar Thompson and Tyler Huntley trying to run that offense, and you're not making the necessary adjustments. You're trying to just have them run the offense the way you were running it before, and it's not working. That can crush your confidence as a play caller. That can crush your confidence as a coach. Could it very easily, against a depleted Cardinals defense, look like the Dolphins of old? Absolutely. That is 100% on the table. Do I think that's likely the first game back for Tua if he is to make his return? I'm skeptical that they would be able to fire on all cylinders right away. And so I look at this matchup as a Cardinals team that could potentially get hot at a really nice time of the year. Now, they have to bring that same level of intensity, that same effort that they brought on Monday. They need to make the necessary adjustments on offense. They need to find a way to get everybody more involved, including Marvin Harrison Jr. This is going to continue to be a talking point until this solves itself. But these are all things that we need to be aware of. So that's where the Dolphins sit. They are a team that statistically you look at them and they are the worst team in football offensively. How much of that do you want to say is going to take the field on Sunday if Tua is their starting quarterback? Probably not 100% of it. Is it going to look like it did last year where they were just putting up numbers every single week? I don't know. I don't know if there's going to be trepidation on Tua's part or if he's going to continue to play the same way that he was playing. Who knows how Mike McDaniel is going to call the game? There are just so many variables with this unique situation that the Dolphins find themselves in. And then you add on top of it that they have not played well for the last couple of weeks, and they have sunk themselves into a hole in the AFC playoff picture. A lot of question marks about the way this team sets up. I'll tell you this, one way or the other, it is part of the Schubert 6 this week. It is one of my picks. I won't tell you which side yet, because we'll get to that when we make the picks in hour number 2. But it is on the list. Speaking of NFL action, it is the Week 8 NFL look ahead. We will go around the NFL, starting with Thursday night, all the games on Sunday. We will do it next here on the lunch break, KDUS AM 1060.
We'll do what's best for the team, and we'll do what's best for you.
The Rich Eisen Show, coming to you weekdays from 3 to 5 p.m. here on KDUS AM 1060 and KDUS1060.com.
Labrie, Mayung, Petrucci, Portnoy, Rudis. Dream Theater, 40th Anniversary Tour. February 18th at Arizona Financial Theater. Dream Theater. Tickets on sale now at LiveNation.com. Don't miss Dream Theater, 40th Anniversary Tour.
Neon City Festival takes over downtown Las Vegas with art, food, and free performances by Alice in Wonderland, Neon Trees, Russell Dickerson, Seven Lions, and more. November 22nd through the 24th. Visit neoncityfestival.com.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. For over 35 years, we've grown by offering our clients more offices, more lawyers, and recovering more than $20 billion. Injured? The choice is easy. Morgan & Morgan. Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
At Shane Company, we'll help you create a ring as unique as your love story. We have the biggest selection of diamonds in all shapes and sizes, and center stones in an array of colors, including sapphires in blue, pink, green, lavender, and more. Just the other day, a couple picked out a blue sapphire that perfectly matched her eyes, and they left knowing her ring was truly one of a kind. That's what happens at Shane Company. Come check us out. You might just fall in love with something unexpected. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
Are you passionate about preserving Arizona's most precious resource? Dive into a rewarding career in water resources technology at Gateway Community College. With hands-on training, expert faculty, and state-of-the-art facilities, receive the education you'll need to start making waves in your new high-demand career in water resources or wastewater treatment. Enroll now and make a splash with Gateway's Water Resources Technology program. Visit gatewaycc.edu/water. gatewaycc.edu/water to get started.
Hi, I'm Tom Horn, Arizona Superintendent of Schools. My job is to further improve Arizona's already excellent public schools. But if your school is not meeting your child's needs, you have choices.
We have 4 children that all have special needs and they need specialized instruction. Without ESA, we would not ever be able to afford something like this. I encourage every parent to look into the ESA program. It's been invaluable to our family.
Learn more about ESAs at azed.gov.
Don't let erectile dysfunction impact your performance. It's a common medical condition, and there's no shame in seeking help. Arizona Urology Specialist, personal care for life's most personal issues. Visit arizonauro.com or call 602-887-2160.
Let's play Star Radio Jeopardy! The answer is Thomas Crapper.
Who invented the toilet?
Correct. Let's try another. The answer is Parker & Sons.
Who installed Crapper's toilet?
Close.
Who's been the Valley's leading plumbing, drain cleaning, and AC company for over 30 years and won the BBB Torch Award for business ethics?
Correct. Keep yourself out of plumbing jeopardy. Call Parker at 602-2-REPAIR. That's 602, the number 2, then REPAIR for Parker & Sons.
James Out West brings NFL, NBA, MLB, and local sports talk to you Monday night starting at 7 on KDUS AM 1060 and the KDUS 1060 app.
Welcome back to the show, the lunch break. Chris Schubert here with you, KDUS AM 1060. We appreciate you joining us on your lunch break during our lunch break. And we normally do this on Fridays. I'm not going to be here for the next couple of days on the show. And I feel like we can just get away with it here on a Wednesday because we're treating it like it's a Friday. So it's like a Friday show. And so on Friday, we normally go around the NFL. We do a little bit of a look ahead. And so since we're doing it on a Wednesday, we can Add in the Thursday night football game that's going to be played tomorrow. So without further ado, it is the Week 8 NFL look ahead. And again, just remember, all of these segments are just an excuse for me to play this music. Always. It's never about anything else other than listening to this music for 10 minutes or so for however long we're doing this segment. We start Thursday night football. The Vikings against the Rams. I don't know what to make of this Rams team. I really don't. They are always going to be good enough with Matthew Stafford if he is healthy to win football games. But they just seem to be missing something. They're hurt with wide receivers. They're discussing potentially trading Cooper Kupp for a second-round pick. It just feels like they are a team in transition. They're always going to be able to be in football games, and that's the concern you have when potentially betting these games is that they're just pesky, and they've got a good quarterback, and if he's healthy, it's going to be a problem. And then the Vikings, they're coming off a bad loss. How do they rebound from their first bit of adversity this season? They played a good Detroit team, and now they have to rebound and play the Rams short week in LA. We will see how they stack up. That's an interesting one for two teams that are battling a little bit here at the midway point of the season. The Jets are going to New England to take on the Patriots. We saw what this looked like the first time when they met on Thursday Night Football. The Jets, one of their 2 wins has come against this New England team, a 24-3, really just blowout. It could have been a lot more. They could have scored a lot more, but it was their most complete game to date with Aaron Rodgers under center. They're looking to probably recapture that magic to save their season. They're going to have to almost run the table at this point. They can't afford to stub their toe. They can't afford to take a bad loss. They have to go up into New England and just find a way to win. It doesn't have to be pretty. It doesn't have to look good. They don't have to blow them out the way they did on Thursday night, but they got to find a way to win if they want to keep their season alive. This one's interesting, the Eagles and the Bengals. The Bengals seemingly looking like they're getting hot, seemingly looking like the team that we expected them to be, and the Eagles not looking like the team we expected them to be. Yes, they blew out the Giants, barely got by the Browns, haven't looked great on offense. Their coach is arguing with their fans at home, just not a good look. If the Bengals want to continue this march towards trying to keep up with the Ravens, trying to steal a spot in the AFC playoff race, you got to win games like this at home. You're playing an Eagles team that you should be able to beat. But again, both teams kind of need this one, and it's early to say that at this stage of the year, but it's kind of true. Both teams kind of need this. The Bengals dug themselves a bit of a hole. They need to win a game like this to help dig themselves out. And if the Eagles want to show to everybody that they have turned it around from what was a bad second half last year and what has been a bumpy ride to start this year, you find a way to win a game like this. The Baltimore Ravens taking on the Cleveland Browns. Look, the Browns making a quarterback change. It is going to be Jameis Winston who's going to be their starter. They're making a play calling change. Kevin Stefanski is not going to call plays on Sunday, and they are going to welcome in potentially the best offense in the AFC. That is the best offense in the AFC. The Baltimore Ravens, Derrick Henry, Lamar Jackson, 5 touchdowns, 5 incompletions on Monday night. They have a running game that is very difficult to stop. They have wide receivers and tight ends that just find a way to get open in this scheme. And the Ravens, if they're going to continue to march, we're doing a lot of that today here on the show. If teams are going to continue to show us what they are, you win games like this if you're the Ravens. New quarterback, new play caller, a lot of change for that team on the other side. I know it's a division rival. I know they're going to play you tough. I know they have a tough defense, but you go in there and win games like this if you are the Ravens. The Titans against the Lions. And I feel like we can talk a little bit about this now because it is not one of my picks, so not one of the Schubert 6 this week. This number is minus 11. The Lions are 11-point favorites at home against the Titans. Now, listen, the Titans stink. The Titans are a bad football team. They are a team that probably doesn't have a long-term answer at quarterback. They just traded DeAndre Hopkins. They've been making moves. I get that. But 11? Vegas is starting to come around to how good the Lions are. That's what this number tells me. The Falcons and the Bucs, two teams looking for a bounce back. Division rivals looking for a bounce back. The Falcons needing to recover from a bad loss to the Seahawks at home. The Bucs, after injuries to Chris Godwin, to Mike Evans, losing on Monday Night Football to the Ravens. A bounce back in the NFC South. This is one you circle. This is one you keep an eye on this week because this is both teams looking to make sure that these are not prolonged losing streaks. It's a divisional rival. The division's on the line in this game. A lot at stake between these two teams on Sunday, the Packers and the Jags. The Jags able to leave London with a victory. They are trying to keep their season alive, although it doesn't feel like they're going to be able to do so. And the Packers, a very big last-second win against the Texans a week ago. Again, trying to carry that momentum in an NFC North where you just have to keep pace. The Lions keep winning. The Vikings, despite the loss last week, still in front of the Packers in the standings. The Bears above 500. So you can't let up if you're a team in the NFC North. You just have to continue to keep pace, and the Packers will attempt to do so in Jacksonville. Colts, Texans. The Colts, winners against the Dolphins. The Texans, losers against the Packers, division rivals. The Texans at home, a bounce-back spot for them against a Colts team that did not look inspiring in that win against Miami last week. Anthony Richardson still looks like I don't want to say that he's still hurt, but he just has a long way to go before he reaches his ceiling, before he reaches his potential. Did not look good in that game last week. They were able to pick up the victory, though. And so this is a little AFC South battle with the Texans looking to bounce back. The Saints and the Chargers coming off that loss on Monday night against the Cardinals, needing to get Justin Herbert and this offense back on track. They lost their running game, had to put a lot of it on Herbert. Their defense played well, but their running game went away, only 59 yards in that game on Monday, and they're taking on a Saints team that just continues to pile up injuries. Their season is going south in a hurry, and so if the Chargers under Jim Harbaugh are going to make a turnaround, if they are going to make the playoffs this year, if they are going to break through with Justin Herbert, you win games like this. You find a way to win games like this at home. This was another big number. The numbers this week, a little bit of a spoiler for the Schubert Six. These numbers this week are very bad. Like, this slate is very tough to pick. We did good last week. This feels like a week where it might go sideways for us. The Bills against the Seahawks. Seahawks, big win against the Falcons. Bills taking care of business against the Tennessee Titans. And the Bills are starting to feel like they are finding themselves. And this team underwent a lot of turnover last year. They made a lot of roster change. Not to say that that was a bad thing. I think the roster change that they made was good for them. I think moving on from Stephon Diggs was a good thing. But when you make those types of wholesale changes, whether or not they were for the best or for the worst, anytime you make moves like that, it changes the mentality of a room. It just changes how everything feels when the group overall looks the same every single year. And so when big name players, whether or not they were performing, leave, it does change things a little bit. And I think it's taken the Bills a couple of weeks here to find their mojo, to find their groove with this new group, with this new offense, with this new receiving core. I think it's taken them a little bit. A lot of change on the defensive side as well. They are starting to find it. They've played some bad teams, but they beat the Jets on Monday night. They took care of business against the Titans, and now they get a Seahawks team who went into Atlanta last week, got a big win, first place in the NFC West, and they've got some teams right behind them, so they can't take the foot off the gas pedal either. Geno Smith and company are going to look to host the Bills and take care of business there. The Panthers and the Broncos. If you want the game that I'm going to watch the least this weekend, it is that game right there. Panthers, Broncos. The Broncos. Think about this. The Denver Broncos. Denver, rookie quarterback, have not been impressive on offense, have had a lot of poor performance. They are 9-point favorites against the Panthers. Again, says more about the Panthers than I think it does the Broncos, but a Broncos offense that has not statistically been the best. 9-point favorites at home against the Panthers. Man, this Panthers team is bad. They've made the quarterback change. It still hasn't helped. First-year coach Dave Canales has just got so much stuff to deal with this organization. It is not in a good state right now, and he's just going to have to just grind his way through the year because I don't know how many more wins are left on the schedule for the Panthers. The Chiefs and the Raiders, this is an interesting one because last year you will remember that the Raiders kind of gave the Chiefs some problems. What was it, Christmas when these two teams played and the Raiders beat them? Bit of an upset by Antonio Pierce and the Raiders at that stage of the season. The Chiefs have not been playing good football. The Raiders, I think it's going to be Gardner Minshew starting at quarterback. They've had some turnover problems. No Devontae Adams, a team that is taking a step backwards. but you worry if the Chiefs are destined to stub their toe here. They seemingly just find ways to win every week, and so you would expect them to do so against a team like the Raiders, but the Raiders have given them trouble in the past. But remember, there was a lot of talk in the offseason about making fun of Patrick Mahomes at Raiders training camp. I think the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes are going to remember that this week. Just my guess. The Bears and the Commanders, man, I would love for this to be Caleb Williams against Jaden Daniels. Does not feel like that is going to be the case. Looks like Jaden Daniels is going to miss this game with that rib injury. He's not practicing today. Marcus Mariota is getting the first-team rep, so we are being robbed of what would be a fun little subplot to two good teams in the NFC in the playoff race going at it, to also have the number 1 and number 2 overall picks going at it at the quarterback position. Alas, we are not going to get that. Can the Commanders stay hot even with Marcus Mariota under center, or are the Bears going to stay hot with Caleb Williams as a rookie and keep pace in the NFC North? And then Sunday Night Football, it is the Cowboys and the 49ers. Injuries to both of these teams. The 49ers, injuries all across their offense. And the Dallas Cowboys just looking to put together one good offensive performance for 60 minutes. So we'll see if that's going to be able to be the case here on Sunday when they take on the 49ers on Sunday Night Football. That is your Week 8 NFL look ahead. Coming up next, we will wrap up hour number 1 of the lunch break with a Wednesday edition of Off the Fence, looking at the Phoenix Suns and the NBA. We'll do it next here on the lunch break. KDUS AM 1060.
Carving out time in your afternoon for the Doug Gottlieb Show right here on KDUS AM 1060, 100.7 HD2, and KDUS1060.com. Weekdays from 1 to 3 p.m.
You may not have any experience dealing with car wrecks, but Lerner and Rowe does. After your car wreck, you need an attorney to make sure your interests, like car repairs, medical bills, and lost wages, are protected. Finding the right attorney is actually easy. Just look for reputation, experience, and results. Lerner and Rowe has thousands of 5-star reviews, decades of experience, and we've recovered billions of dollars for our injured clients. Hurt in a wreck and need a check? Call Lerner and Rowe today.
Lerner and Rowe is the way to go. Call 977-1900.
A noisy garage door is a cry for help that often requires only simple maintenance. However, if left untreated, could lead to costly repairs. Hi, I'm Tommy Mello from A1 Garage Door Service. Don't wait until a simple garage door repair becomes a major problem. If your garage door is noisy, if bugs are getting in, or if it struggles to open, your garage door is in need of repair. From simple repairs to upgrades, it's A1 from day one. We fix garage doors fast and with quality parts designed to last a lifetime. Our springs, rollers, and openers are tested by running them up and down, open and closed all day, 24/7, so you can feel confident with every A1 garage door repair. Replacing the bottom rubber on your garage door can have a huge impact on the number of bugs you see in your garage and in your home. Keep those creepy crawlers outside by calling A1 Garage Door Service today and receive the best service, best parts, and best warranty in the industry.
A1Garage.com, A1 from day one.
Call today and take advantage of our $29.95 tune-up special.
Oh, Sasquatch, you're back already? Yeah, you sure do have a lot of camera equipment. Are you a collector? Oh, sorry. Here, let me take that for you. And I'll get you a receipt. Sasquatch?
Was that? Who was that?
Oh, Squatch? Oh, yeah, he's a big supporter of Goodwill's mission of ending poverty through the power of work. He donates stuff almost every week.
Awesome.
It's not an urban legend. Your Goodwill donations help improve the lives of Arizonans every day. Donate today at your neighborhood Goodwill.
Listener rewards for you with the KDUS 1060 app. Download today to hear all of the national and local shows you love. That's the KDUS 1060 app.
Welcome back to the lunch break. KDUS AM 1060. Chris Schubert here with you. 602-260-1060. That is the number to get in touch with the program. Make sure you have downloaded the KDUS AM 1060 app so you can take the show, you can take the station with you anywhere and everywhere. So you don't have to just listen to us in the car. You can listen to us at the office. You can listen to us at the gym, podcast, video, all of that stuff. Going to be rolled out here pretty soon on the app. So make sure you download the KDUS 1060 app. It's free, and you can enjoy all of the content here on the station at any time. Now, I have to make a very important decision here today. And I'd like to, before we get into a NBA edition of Off the Fence on a Wednesday, I'd like to maybe talk this out with everybody so I can get to a place where I can make an informed decision today. Because this is the most important decision I am going to make today. after the show is done, so in about an hour and 15 minutes, I have to do some content-related things. We get to show up on the podcast feed. We get some social media stuff posted. So there's some after-show work that we have to do. But I have a flight to catch today. Like I said, not going to be here Thursday and Friday, so we're jamming everything in here to the Wednesday edition of the show. So I am out the rest of the week. I have a flight to catch. Now, my flight leaves at 4:12 today. My boarding time around the 3:30 mark. So I have to make the important decision of how early do you get to the airport? When do you leave? Because not to give too much away, but we're very close to the airport. And I'm parking my car, and where I park my car is close to the studio. It's very close. It's not going to take me long. So my travel time is not a lot to the airport itself. It's not going to take more than maybe 10 to 15 minutes to be able to be inside of the airport. I guess, what would you call that? The loop of the airport where you can get dropped off. It's not going to take me long to be inside the property lines of the airport. Now, normally, I'm a 1 hour before the flight leaves guy. That's when I'll show up to the airport because it won't take very long to get through security on a Wednesday. I will let everybody know. If you're watching on the YouTube side of things, I have my phone handy. I am refreshing the wait times at Sky Harbor to see if they continue to go up so I can make sure that I get there on time. But I will tell you, the last time I flew a little too close to the sun. I had a bit of a mishap where I almost missed my flight completely because I didn't gauge it well. Now, the difference was I was traveling early in the morning. I didn't consider the nature of how many people would be traveling. And so my gut tells me that if I leave here, if I leave the building at around 2:15 to get inside at around 2:30, it's not going to take me an hour to get through security. At most, it would take a half hour if it was really bad. So now that I talked this out, I feel really comfortable with the 2:15 to 2:30 window. But the last time I traveled, I'm the type of person that I'm always going to push it. I'm always going to try to be there at the last possible second because I'm uninterested in just sitting in front of the gate for an hour and a half if you get through security. So I'm always checking wait times. I'm always seeing how long it'll take on the map to get there. I'm trying to limit my exposure to having to sit in front of an airplane gate because I'm going to be on the plane for a couple of hours. But the last time I flew a little too close to the sun and I almost missed my flight completely has me rethinking the entire process altogether. So we're going to try it today, leaving here around 2:15, 2:30, and I'll report back on Monday how well it went. And you'll know if I made the flight or not. You can follow me on Twitter at Chris Schubert _, and I'll let you know probably there on Twitter if I made the flight. So appreciate you allowing me to go off there on a tangent about what time I need to leave. Because if you're watching us on YouTube during the break, you'll see me constantly looking down at my phone. That's what I'm looking down at. I am checking the wait times at Sky Harbor at my terminal to see if I'm going to be able to be there on time. With that being said, we have a NBA edition of Off the Fence, with the Suns season getting underway tonight, with the NBA season getting underway last night. Well, I have a Suns spin on Off the Fence, so we'll play the intro, and then I'll explain what our topic is this week.
Nobody likes a fence sitter.
The question is, what choice?
So, Chris, can you pick a side?
Well, you don't really have a choice.
And get off the fence.
Excellent choice.
That is exactly what we will do. We will make a decision here. We will get off the fence. And our topic today is I picked 5 teams in the Western Conference. And I have to decide whether or not the Suns, right now as the season begins, do I think the Suns are better or worse than these 5 teams in the Western Conference? So this is no wait and see. This is no let the season play out. Let me get to the All-Star break. No. I am not allowed to bring in any sample size. I have to say right now how I feel about these 5 teams in comparison to the Phoenix Suns. So our first team, the Minnesota Timberwolves. Are the Suns better or worse than the Minnesota Timberwolves, a team that went to the Western Conference Finals last year, a team that has a superstar on their roster in Anthony Edwards, a team that was active this offseason, trading away Karl Anthony Towns, acquiring Julius Randle and Dante DiVincenzo, adding to the depth of their team. Do I think the Suns are better or worse than the Minnesota Timberwolves? And I'm here to tell you that because I don't have a sample size, because I don't have a month, 2 months, or until the All-Star break to determine this, I will say right now, I think the Suns are better than the Minnesota Timberwolves. They've changed a major component of their team. Karl Anthony Towns being off this team changes things a little bit. And so there's going to be some growing pains. They lost last night to the Lakers, so I have the benefit of that in my back pocket here today. But the Phoenix Suns are a team that their core is still in place. Now, they did get swept by this team a year ago. I'm very well aware of that. But I believe the additions that were made, I think the coaching change is a huge plus. So right now, if those two teams were to match up in a series, I would take the Phoenix Suns right now in a series against the Minnesota Timberwolves. And maybe this is me going completely all in with the doubling down effort that the Phoenix Suns have done this offseason, something I was not necessarily a fan of, but over time have grown to kind of embrace. And we talked about it at the top of the show, the Daily Special, if you missed it, that I think the theme of this year for the Phoenix Suns is redemption. And I am all in on this redemption arc for this core, for this group this season. So right now, the Minnesota Timberwolves, I would say the Suns are better than the Minnesota Timberwolves. Now, the number 2 team we will discuss, the Denver Nuggets. And Denver is such a weird team to me because on paper, they have a lot of the same players that led them to being champions. Specifically when it comes to superstar players. Jokic, Murray, all still there. But it just feels like something is off about this team. It feels like something is not clicking the way that it did the first couple of years during their run. So if the Suns and Denver Nuggets were to match up in a series right now, what would I say? Man, maybe this is me just going all in. I think the Suns are a better team than the Denver Nuggets right now. I think coaching is closer than it was. I think talent-wise, the Suns match up really well. I would take the Suns over the Denver Nuggets. The third team for us to discuss, Dallas Mavericks, defending Western Conference champions. This one's easy. I can't take the Suns over. You got to show me. You got to show me that you can beat this team. Now, you can say, Chris, you just said that they were better than the Minnesota Timberwolves who they got swept by. Yeah, I get that. But there were changes made to that Timberwolves team. This Mavs team have added since the last time these two teams met. And the last time these two teams met, it was a collapse by the Phoenix Suns. You got to show me you can get by Luka and Kyrie and Dallas in a big spot. You got to show me the redemption opportunity that would present. And so they are the defending Western Conference champions. I still think they are a good team. And so right now, if those two teams were to match up in a series, I think I would take the Dallas Mavericks over the Phoenix Suns. Listen, you got to show me that you can do it. When I see a team have your number constantly, more often than not, the Dallas Mavericks and Luka Doncic in particular have had the Phoenix Suns number, specifically in the biggest stage in the NBA playoffs. I need to see you overcome that hurdle. I need to see you pass that test. And so until I see that, I'm going to err on the side of going with the guy who has the Phoenix Suns number, maybe because he's upset that they didn't draft him number 1 overall. The last two, as we're doing a edition of Off the Fence, NBA, are the Suns better or worse than? And we've got 5 teams that I selected at random from the Western Conference. I'm not going to go through all of the teams in the Western Conference, but I think the point that I'm trying to make by doing this exercise is the Western Conference is loaded this year. I mean, all of these teams that we mentioned so far, whether or not I feel the Suns are better or worse than them, they are good competitive basketball teams. And the Western Conference overall is going to be a competitive conference throughout the year. It is going to be a challenge for the Phoenix Suns to complete their redemption tour. But they can do it. The last 2 teams for us here, the Los Angeles Lakers. Do I think the Phoenix Suns are better or worse than the Los Angeles Lakers? And I know they won last night. And I know LeBron James and Bronny got to be on the court for a couple of minutes. Now, I'm going to go on a quick aside. Producer Dylan, I apologize in advance. I watched Knicks Celtics, watched the banner raise, watched the Celtics blow out the Knicks, and then had some family over, was doing some dinner stuff, did not watch Timberwolves Lakers, was not interested in seeing the charade that was going to be Bronny James making his NBA debut in the most contrived, forced way possible to be on the court with his dad. I was not going to participate. And I woke up this morning and I said to myself, you know what? Let's see what it looked like. me look at the box score. Let me see how. And I saw how many minutes Bronny played in this game last night. And if you have not seen the box score, he played 3 minutes. 3. Again, I go back to this being the most contrived thing of all time, the most forced thing of all time. He played 3 minutes, got to have his moment with his dad. Didn't score a single point, got 1 rebound in those 3 minutes. So I did not stay up late to consume Lakers basketball in the Bronny James era, in the JJ Redick era. Did not consume Lakers basketball. But when it comes to the Phoenix Suns in comparison to the Los Angeles Lakers, this was the easiest one for me to write down. The Suns are a better basketball team than the Los Angeles Lakers. I know they have LeBron and AD. LeBron is older. AD, the question is health and availability, although he played a ton of games last year. So you wonder if he is able to repeat that this year. But in a 7-game series, I think the Phoenix Suns have the coaching matchup on lock. I think their talent is younger, more in their prime. And they match up well with LeBron and AD. And so for me, it is easy to say that in a 7-game series in the playoffs, the Phoenix Suns would be able to get by the Los Angeles Lakers. I am not buying in to just one game last night. I'm not buying into LeBron at this advanced age still being able to pull a rabbit out of his hat and have this team in contention. He even said in the preseason that there are no expectations on this team. I think they are going to run out of gas under this regime in this era of LeBron and AD. I think they got their title during the COVID year, and that's about it. They are not going to reach that peak again. So if you're asking me, I think it's pretty clear that the Suns are a better team than the Los Angeles Lakers. The last team for us to discuss here, that being the Oklahoma City Thunder. And now, mind you, to prove my point, look at the teams I didn't mention. I didn't get Utah in there. I didn't get the Clippers in there. I didn't get the Pelicans in there. I didn't get Golden State in there. I mean, these are teams that are on varying levels of comparison with the Suns. Some would match up good, some would match up poorly. But all of those teams that I just mentioned aren't packing it in this year. They're trying to win. And so I just named 5 teams I just picked 5 teams that I wanted to compare to the Suns. There are 5 other teams that I could have picked to replace those 5 teams. That shows you the depth of the Western Conference and how when these Western Conference teams match up night in and night out, it is going to be a grind. It is going to be whoever earns the top seed in the West this year, I think more so than years past, is going to earn it. They are going to survive the gauntlet of a regular season that is going to have them battling night in and night out. And I think that's what's going to make this NBA regular season fun, because it's easy to kind of fall out of favor with the NBA regular season. Maybe you watch the first 10 or 15 games and then you're just checking the box scores, and then post All-Star break, you're checking back in. And then as it ramps up towards the playoffs, you're locked in and engaged and ready to go, right? It's kind of how it works in the NBA. It's how it works in baseball too, right? First month or so, I'm paying attention. Not really until after Memorial Day. Post All-Star break, we're locked in. Then the trade deadline rolls around, and then it's August, September, meaningful baseball, and you're focused. I think this year it's going to be wall-to-wall in the Western Conference. It's going to be a battle royale all throughout the year. So the last thing for us to discuss, the Oklahoma City Thunder. And I think while the Thunder are a young team, they have depth, they have pieces all over the place. I just keep coming back to, you got to show me something. And I said this about the Suns when it comes to the Mavericks. You got to show me you can beat the Mavericks. You're the Thunder. You got to show me that you belong in the upper echelon of teams in the Western Conference. Last year was nice. Last year was a good story. But I need to see it again before I'm completely bought into this team as a long-standing member of the Western Conference power tree. Maybe that's something we'll do on a regular basis. We will look at the hierarchy of the Western Conference as the season develops. Producer Dylan, write that down for a future segment for us to do as we keep tabs on the Phoenix Suns throughout their year this year. So we said better than the Timberwolves. We said better than the Nuggets. We said better than the Lakers, better than the Thunder. And we said worse than the Dallas Mavericks. All because you just got to show me something in the postseason. But that's just a small group of teams in the Western Conference. That doesn't include Utah. It doesn't include Golden State. It doesn't include the Clippers. It doesn't include New Orleans. All teams that could make some level of noise in the Western Conference this year. That could be, at worst, thorns in the side of the Suns. At best, those teams could be exceptional. So that's what you have to look forward to every single night in the Western Conference with the Phoenix Suns. Can't wait to see what they do tonight to open the year. Hour number 1 in the books. We will start hour number 2 with this. Another day, another conversation about the Arizona Cardinals selling. We'll get into it at the top of the hour. Lunch break, KDUS AM 1060.
AM 1060 KDUS Tempe Phoenix and KSLX HD2 Scottsdale Phoenix.
Sunday on the Las Vegas Raiders Radio Network, the Silver and Black play host to the Kansas City Chiefs. Hi, this is Tim Cates. Join Jason Horowitz and Lincoln Kennedy for all the action. The Raiders back home inside Allegiant as they play host to Patrick Mahomes and the undefeated 6-0 Kansas City Chiefs. It's an AFC West battle. The Raiders and Chiefs. If it's the NFL, it's right here.
Raiders Chiefs on AM 1060 KDUS.
Take advantage of thousands of dollars in SRP rebates and discounts on energy-efficient home upgrades like new air conditioning units, windows, ducts, and insulation. Save money on your energy bill while also making your home more comfortable. SRP's network of participating contractors can guide you from start to finish and maximize your savings by combining Inflation Reduction Act incentives with SRP rebates. Learn more at savewithsrp.com.
College football fans, Chris Fowler here with the play call. This season, go for Dose with ice-cold, refreshing Dos Equis. It's more than a single play. It's a mindset. Think of it as a 2-point conversion for real life. Taking the risk, making the bold move. Whenever we get the chance to go big, we take it. On the field and off, always go for Dose with Dos Equis.
Enjoy Dos Equis responsibly. Copyright 2024 Dos Equis Lager Especial Beer. Imported by Cervezas Mexicanas, White Plains, New York.
Hey, Portasubs fans, ready for a deal that's big on taste but light on your wallet? Make it a combo for just $2. Just $2 more. You can upgrade with chips and a drink. Get more meal for your money and make your lunch a combo. Head to Portasubs and add chips and a drink for just $2. Offer available for a limited time only. Visit portasubs.com or order on our app.
Slice fresh sandwiches, Portasubs.
Alexis and I watch lawyers get out there and say they're going to get you a fast, easy, serious injury settlement. And we're like, what? Be like going to your cardiologist and asking for a fast, easy triple bypass. Hi, I'm Mark Breyer.
And I'm Alexis Breyer. We're the husband and wife law team. Fast and easy settlements actually is less work for the lawyer and less money for the client.
And you know who promises you that? People who don't want to get out there and fight for you when you need them. Do your research after a serious injury. Call the husband and wife law team first.
Come see us at Mark Mazda in Scottsdale and receive 0.9% APR for 60 months on all 2024 Mazda CX-50s.
And let our team of on-site buyers get you top dollar for your trade.
The name to remember, Mark Mazda, Mark Mazda.
AM 1060 KDUS Tempe Phoenix and KSLX HD2 Scottsdale Phoenix.
Welcome back. Hour number 2 of the program. The lunch break, KDUS AM 1060. Chris Schubert here with you. Some news for those of you who care about these kinds of things from a gambling sports betting perspective. The Panthers have announced that Bryce Young is going to start on Sunday against the Denver Broncos. So Andy Dalton involved in a car accident yesterday, not practicing. And so Dave Canales just made the announcement that Bryce Young, who was benched earlier in the year, is going to be the starter on Sunday for the Panthers as they take on the Denver Broncos. Now, I saw a tweet from Johnny Venerable, who covers the Cardinals for PHNX and does a great job with the PHNX cards, content with him and Bo Brock. Maybe we'll get Johnny on the show so he and I can agree on this together, because he had a tweet that I quote tweeted and added my thoughts, because it's been stuff that I've been talking about here for a while. And I'm going to read you this tweet from Johnny, and then we'll get into why I'm annoyed again today at another outlet discussing the Cardinals being sellers. And by the way, the trade deadline is just couple weeks away, and stuff's already happening. DeAndre Hopkins gets traded to the Chiefs today. We've already had Devontae Adams and Amari Cooper get traded. There's Cooper Kupp might get traded for a second-round pick. There's just a lot going on in the NFL trade landscape, stuff that we're not used to seeing from this league on a regular basis. So it's a lot of fun. It's exciting. These types of rumors and news are just the NFL continuing to just monopolize all of our free time. So Johnny tweeted this morning. I was putting together the show and was already planning on discussing this ESPN story, but I saw Johnny's tweet, and I'm going to use it to kind of segue into this story. But he said it would be a horrendous lapse in judgment by the Arizona Cardinals front office to not take advantage of the current injury circumstances to the Rams and the 49ers. Nothing is guaranteed in this league. Division titles should not be taken for granted with this franchise. And I thought it was a great point by Johnny. You can go in to the year with whatever plan you'd like. You can go in thinking you're going to be at whatever record you think you're going to be at a certain point. That's all well and good. But at some point, your record and the record of everybody else around you is reflective of where they are at as a team. And right now, the 3-4 Arizona Cardinals are one game out of first place, a division title, a home playoff game in the NFC West. And so I quote tweeted that. And I said, this is why all these stories that I see about the Cardinals being sellers just confuse me. You are 3-4, one game out of first place. You have to see this through. If things change between now and the deadline, okay. But this front office needs to either stand pat, which is less ideal, or add on a small scale. And so there was another story today on ESPN talking about plans for all 32 teams in the NFL at the trade deadline. And it talked about where they should be. Should they be sellers? Should they be buyers? If they are buyers, who should they target? If they are sellers, who is potentially on the move? And I'm going to read you what they said about the Cardinals. Again, easy story to read. They're the first team on the list. You don't have to scroll far. Now, their chance to make the playoffs, according to ESPN's internal analytics, are 29.6%. Here is what Jeremy Fowler said about adding, subtracting, or sitting it out. Quote, subtracting with the chance to sit it out. The Cardinals are trying to win in 2024 while planning for the future. That's a balance that breeds patience, which is why I expect GM Monty Ossenfort to hold on to his picks. Safety Budda Baker would elicit trade interest if Ossenfort wants to give the free agent to be a chance to earn a new contract elsewhere. So once again, we're just going to continue to talk about Budda Baker being the trade piece that the Cardinals have to offer. But we're also once again discussing the Cardinals being sellers. And it was subtracting up front with the chance to sit it out. What would be the series of outcomes that would lead us to say that the Cardinals should sit it out instead of subtracting in the minds of ESPN's Jeremy Fowler? Because if the Cardinals win on Sunday, if they beat the Miami Dolphins, they're 4-4. The Bills could very easily beat the Seahawks in Seattle, and the Arizona Cardinals would be tied for first place in the NFC West. Again, at some point, the way things currently stand need to be what guides this process. Now, that doesn't mean go crazy. That doesn't mean trade your first-round picks for the next 4 years to acquire a player or two players. You don't have to go all in and acquire free agents to be. You don't have to do that. You can be smart about it. You can cautiously add to this roster. There are probably adds on a small scale that won't cost a lot of draft capital, that could be players that help both the short and long-term health of this franchise. There are moves out there. There are moves happening all the time. Ernest Jones just got traded today. That deal, I think, is official. There's a lot of these deals that are just put out there into the Twitter sphere that I don't know if they're actually fully done yet. But no, the Seahawks traded Jerome Baker and a pick for Ernest Jones. There are moves out there to make your team better. There are avenues to explore to make your team better without mortgaging the future. And so for the default position to be for a team one game out of first place to sell at the deadline, to me, is foolish. The trade deadline is after, week 10? After week 9? It's a couple of weeks away. Let's see what the next 2 weeks look like for this team. If they win on Sunday, are we going to come in here on Monday and talk about, Cardinals should be sellers, 4-4, potentially a tie for first place with games in hand against the Seahawks, with wins already in the bank against the 49ers and the Rams? No, we would take that conversation completely off the table. And I understand a cautious approach. I understand not wanting to push all of the chips into the middle. But for the default position right now to be that this team should sell, you cannot send that message. Do you want to hear that an organization that is one game out of first place is selling at the trade deadline? Do you want to hear that this organization with a playoff berth at stake, a home playoff game potentially in the cards, is giving up that opportunity with all of those games still left on the calendar, with 2 games against the Seahawks? Again, it doesn't have to look pretty, but first place is 1 week away. There is an avenue where Monday we start the show discussing the first place Arizona Cardinals. Can we at least see that through? Can we at least get to Monday and see if this team is 4-4 or 3-5? Can we see if Monday was a mirage or the start of this team learning how to win? What is the rush? That is the problem that I have with all of these stories, is I don't think there is a rush. We've got the Schubert 6, a Wednesday edition of me making all of my picks. We will do that next here on the lunch break, KDUS AM 1060.
Have you downloaded the KDUS 1060 app yet? Download today and get all of your favorite local and national shows right on your phone.
Breaking news coming in from Bet365, where every nail-biting overtime win, breakaway, pick six, three-point shot, underdog win, buzzer beater, shootout, walk-off, and absolutely every play in between is amazing. From football to basketball and hockey to baseball, whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP. 21 plus only. Must be physically located in Arizona.
Hi, I'm Tom Horn, Arizona Superintendent of Schools. My job is to further improve Arizona's already excellent public schools. But if your school is not meeting your child's needs, you have choices.
The ESA program really helped my children because it actually gave us a choice with transportation, uniforms, with their one-on-one experience with their teachers.
There's not as many kids, so you can go to a teacher and ask questions and not have to wait that long.
Learn more about ESAs at azed.gov.
You know Brakes Plus are the brake experts. Come experience the Plus. From belts and hoses to shocks and struts, we do it all. We'll guide you through the repairs and provide transparent pricing without all the fancy extras. Mention this ad for $30 off brake pads or shoes. Visit brakesplus.com to schedule your appointment today, where practical people go for exceptional service.
When America says, give me a break, America comes to Brakes Plus.
There are a ton of ways to kick off your day. Gym grind, endless scroll, or snooze button life. But McDonald's has a deal that levels up your morning above the rest. Now at McDonald's, mix and match your choice of a fluffy sausage, egg, and cheese McGriddles and sizzly sausage McMuffin with egg for just $5. With a deal this fire, there's no better way to upgrade your mornings than with a delicious breakfast. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. Prices and participation may vary. Cannot be combined with any other offer or combo meal. Single item at regular price.
I'm Dan Patrick, and this is Above the Noise. The only undefeated team in the NFL just got a little bit better this morning as the Chiefs officially acquired three-time All-Pro receiver DeAndre Hopkins. At 32, Hopkins isn't the game changer he once was, but that doesn't mean the addition won't have an impact on Kansas City. Hopkins hasn't looked very threatening this season. Through 6 games, he's managed to accumulate just under 175 total yards this season. But in Hopkins' defense, it's not like he's catching balls from Tom Brady. 10 Tennessee is last in the NFL in passing yards per game at 145.8. That doesn't fall on Hopkins. Last season was eerily similar. Despite one of the worst quarterbacking situations in the NFL, Hopkins quietly put together a 1,000-yard season. Kansas City won't rely on him to replicate those numbers, but with the team in desperate need of a pass catcher, even at the age of 32, this could still be a dangerous match for the rest of the AFC. I'm Dan Patrick, and this is Above the Noise. The NBA finally back. The new season means new ways to get in on all the action. DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. New DraftKings customers can bet $5, get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Every point counts with DraftKings Sportsbook. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Use code Patrick. Code Patrick for new customers. You get $200 in bonus bets when you bet just $5. Only on DraftKings. The crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas. 21 plus age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in New Hampshire, Oregon, Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/bball.
Football fans, it's Mellow Mondays, so join the Rooster at Mellow Mushroom off the I-17 and Happy Valley Road between 5 and 6 p.m. every Monday night during football season. Welcome back to the show. The lunch break, KDUS AM 1060. We appreciate you on your lunch break. Joining us on our lunch break, Chris Schubert here with you. And we do it each and every Friday. Because we are not here on Friday, I'm not going to use that as an excuse to not make our picks. So we are going to do the Schubert 6 here on a Wednesday. So let's get into it. Good week last week. I will say, overall, no complaints. It was a 4-2 week out of a possible 21 points, which is what you would get if you got every single pick right in our confidence rankings. We got 15 out of a possible 21 points. So again, no complaints. We lost our 4-pointer and our 2-pointer. And you'd like to get some of those top tier points, but we're 2-0 on our 6 and 5 pointers. Well, that's going to carry a lot of the weight on a weekly basis. Now, again, 4-2 last week, 15 out of a possible 21 points. This week, I can almost guarantee you we are not going to do that. This slate of games is not very good. The numbers are not very good. I hate almost every one of the picks. I have zero confidence in any of the picks. If I could apply 0 points to them all, I would. But that's not how it works. So I have to make 6 selections. And I will make 6 selections. My 1-point play. It's a divisional matchup. I always hate taking these divisional matchups, but I'm here to tell you I've got 3 of them on the cards this week. Because it's just... I'm not taking the Broncos to cover 9, and the number's probably going to grow now that Bryce Young's the star. I'm not taking that game. So we're going to take a division rival. We're going to take the Houston Texans in a bounce-back spot, giving 5.5 against the Colts. Look, the Colts did not impress me with Anthony Richardson's return to the lineup. The Texans are a well-coached team. They will bounce back from their disappointing loss to the Green Bay Packers, and I think this is that bounce-back spot. I think they can win this game by more than a touchdown. But again, divisional game, do you love it? Do I have the institutional faith in the Texans to come through to put 4, 5, 6 points on it? I don't. I really don't. The Colts could very easily win this game. So we're gonna go low on the points on this one. We're gonna go 1 point. The Texans giving the 5.5 against the Colts. Our 2-point play. Maybe I'm rallying the Valley against what I believe is not a conspiracy, but is a movement to push the Cardinals into tanking when they don't need to. So maybe because of that, I have influenced myself. But as my 2-point play this week, the only play in which I am getting points, that's right, give me the Cardinals and the 3 points. I think they win this game outright. I think they beat the Dolphins. I think the Miami Dolphins are a team that, yes, they're more than likely getting their quarterback back, but I'm not so sure they're going to look like the team that we've seen them be with Tua under center. I think it's going to take them a little bit. And I was inspired by the grittiness, the toughness that the Cardinals were able to show. And I think this offense is prime for a breakout performance. I think Kyler can make those special plays like he did on Monday night when the team needs him to. So give me the 3 points. Give me the Cardinals. They're going to win the game. And we might be talking about a first-place team on Monday when I am back. My 3-point play, we're going to dabble. A little Thursday night football action. Again, this card this week stinks. So give me the Vikings minus the 3 against the Rams. Look, I said it when we did the NFL look ahead in hour number 1, that the Rams are a team that are always going to be pesky. They're a team that's always going to be a thorn in your side as long as Matt Stafford is healthy under center with Sean McVay. They're just going to always just be in the way. And I have been very critical of this Vikings team. I've called them a little bit of a paper tiger. But I think they bounce back from losing to the Lions. They know that they have to keep pace in the NFC North. Everybody in the NFC North just keeps winning football games. Every team's above 500. Every team is playing competitive, winning football. We might get 3 teams out of that division into the playoffs in the NFC with the way the NFC East is right now, with the underperformance in the NFC West that we've been talking about here on the show. So you just have to keep pace. You just have to keep finding ways to win football games. And I think the Vikings match up well against the Rams. And I think they covered the 3 and they beat the Rams. My 4-point play. It's the biggest number on the card this week. And it's the one that gives me the most agita because despite how strongly I feel about this, I just hate having a top play be a 9-point play. They're changing quarterbacks. They're changing play callers. It's a divisional matchup. All of the reasons why I should just stay away from this game, but there's just something about this team that keeps pulling me right back in. And maybe it's their MVP quarterback. Maybe it's their right now offensive player of the year running back. Maybe it's their coach who is always finding ways to be innovative and they reinvent themselves constantly. And they're a gritty, tough football team. Their defense is so well coached. They've got talent on all 3 levels. They're just a good football team. They're probably the number 2 team in the AFC. You might say they are the best team in the AFC. And so when I think about this team, and I think about that MVP quarterback, and I think about that offensive player of the year running back, and I think about that great coach, and I think about that talent on defense, and I think about all those things going up against a team that is going to a quarterback who is their emergency 3rd-string backup on Sunday, when they're changing play callers. I'm taking the Ravens minus the 9 points against the Browns. The Ravens got to cover 2 scores. I know. But my 4-point play this week is the Baltimore Ravens taking on the Cleveland Browns. And Jameis Winston, he's just going to turn the ball over way too much against this Ravens defense, right? Like that's the thing that is drawing me towards the Ravens covering this. That it's gonna sit for a lot of the game in that 7-14 range, and I'm gonna sweat it out. But I feel like I'm gonna get a late pick 6 from Jameis Winston that's gonna allow me to feel really comfortable about the Ravens winning by like 17 or something. I just feel like I'm not gonna watch the game, and just by the end, I'm just gonna look up and I'm gonna be like, oh, the Ravens covered. They covered the 9. There's just so much about this. You're changing quarterbacks and play callers. And you're going up against the Ravens, who are that good defensively. That just feels like a recipe for disaster. So my 4-point play, give me the Ravens minus 9 against the Browns. My 5-point play, bounce back spot. A team that needs a bounce back. A divisional matchup. Again, our 3rd divisional matchup on the card this week. My 5-point play, give me the Falcons minus 2.5 against the Bucs. The Bucs lose Chris Godwin for the year. Mike Evans is banged up. I'm sorry. They got to show me they can overcome those injuries. The Falcons lost because they didn't play well. We can overcome not playing well. We can bounce back from not playing well. I don't know if we can bounce back from losing our top 2 wide receiver options. I don't know if emotionally we can bounce back from Chris Godwin dislocating his ankle. I don't know if we can turn around that quickly and bounce back. It's only 2.5. I just have to win the game by a field goal. I think the Falcons do that, and they cover the 2.5 against the Bucs. And my 6-point play. This team won last week. They are hitting their stride as a team. They apparently had former Jets head coach Robert Saleh at their practice today. Looked like he was holding a play card, was looking at the defense. So I wonder if he's been hired in some capacity for this team. But the Packers are firing on all cylinders right now. And so I am going to take the Green Bay Packers minus the 4.5 against the Jags. Listen, the Jags were able to beat up on a really bad New England Patriots team last week in London. They are still not a good football team. They are still a team that is behind the curve in the AFC. They still have too big of a hole to dig themselves out of. And I am not going to immediately think that this offense has figured it out, how to get everybody involved. I am not going to say that Trevor Lawrence and Doug Peterson are back after beating the New England Patriots. I am not going to do that. And so they're taking on a Green Bay team that is extremely talented, that has a really good quarterback, that is so much different than that New England team that they just faced, that I just do not see them winning this game, and I think the Packers cover the 4.5. So to recap, our 1-point play, give me C.J. Stroud and the Houston Texans, minus the 5.5 against the Colts. My 2-point play, the only underdog on the card this week, give me the Cardinals plus the 3 against the Dolphins. I think they win the game outright. My 3-point play, Thursday night action for you, the Vikings minus 3 against the Rams. My 4-point play, I hate it, but I'm not going to change at this point. I am not going to move away from this. Ravens minus 9 against the Browns. Again, I like it so much because I'm just so in love with this Ravens team right now. I just think they are an offensive machine that can just take it to any team they play, but the number is just so big. A lot of big numbers this week. And I mentioned the Broncos being 9-point favorites. The Lions, 11-point favorites against the Titans. That was another one I was like, man, Lions against the Titans. I love that. And then I saw the number and I was like, I don't know if I love it as much. So I have the Ravens minus 9 against the Browns as my 4-point play. My 5-point play, we're sticking with divisional matchups. The Falcons minus 2.5 against the Bucs. And the 6-point play, the Packers minus 4.5 against the Jaguars. So that is your Week 8 NFL Schubert 6. We had a good week last week. Again, 4-2, 15 out of a possible 21. The 2 losers were the Chargers and the Jets. And if you will notice, after them being the only 2 losers last week, didn't make the cut this week for the Schubert 6. You lose after I pick you, you're on a 1-week hiatus. Now, the Jets 7-point favorites against the Patriots. I almost considered that. Again, another divisional matchup that I almost considered. And the Chargers, I think, are like 5.5-point favorites at home against the Saints. Almost considered that as well. But again, you burned me last week. Both of those teams burned me in a big way last week. I wasn't sure that I was going to go back to the well this week with them. So 5 favorites, 1 underdog, very similar to what we did last week. Our only underdog last week was the Lions plus 1.5 against the Vikings. That one hit. So we picked the right underdog last week, at least in terms of our top point allocation. So 1 underdog, the 5 favorites, 3 divisional matchups this week for the Schubert 6. And we will be hopeful to have another positive week, to have 3 or more wins, and to continue increasing that point total. So the Schubert 6 for Week 8 in the books. So we'll keep an eye on those selections all throughout the weekend, and it starts tomorrow. We'll know if I have the 3-point play in the bag already with the Vikings minus 3 against the Rams. So we will come back. The lunch break, KDUS, AM 1060.
I'll turn those picks into gold.
Wall-to-wall NFL coverage and the biggest stories coming to you from 3 to 5 p.m. The Rich Eisen Show here on KDUS AM 1060 and KDUS1060.com.
Right now, during the grand opening of Escalante, Fulton Homes' beautiful master plan community in Surprise, you can purchase new homes from the mid-400s. Learn more about Fulton Homes Escalante at fultonhomes.com. Fulton Homes, you're proud to own, we're proud to build.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. When an injured worker left me a message that said, "You probably won't call me back, I'm just a nobody," I called him right back. Nobody's a nobody, and no one deserves a better firm than you.
When Morgan said nobody is a nobody, I felt like that. And they took care of me, and now we're doing okay. Thank God that I went to Morgan & Morgan.
Injured? Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
It's not a fall celebration without wine and cheese. Now through October 29, save 25% on any artisan cheeses from AJ's Fromagerie. And it's a great time to stock up on our expertly curated wine selection for all your autumn festivities. Mix and match to save an additional 25% on any purchase of 6 or more 750 milliliter bottles. It's a good day for gourmet, only at AJ's.
Deftones. North American Tour 2025. Live in Phoenix. Footprint Center, March 9th. With special guests, the Mars Volta and Fleshwater. Get tickets now at livenation.com. Presented by the Big Red Radio.
Hey, basketball fans, Tom Chambers here reminding you that just like in a game, you need a solid defense for your home. And that starts with a reliable roof from Right Way Roofing. Hey, Lori, as owner of Right Way Roofing, what sets you apart from the competition?
Our team tackles any roofing challenge from shingles to tile to foam roofing. We'll make sure your roof wins against the toughest opponents, rain, wind, and even those scorching summer days.
Make Right Way Roofing your MVP.
We're Right Way Roofing and we do it right. We'll always keep you watertight.
Stop letting your bladder call the shots. Talk to Arizona urology specialists about frequent urination and take back control today. Arizona Urology Specialists, personal care for life's most personal issues. Visit ArizonaURO.com or call 602-887-2160.
The Mitsubishi Year in Sales event is going on now at Scottsdale Mitsubishi. Right now, you can receive 0.99% APR for up to 60 months on the 2024 Mitsubishi Outlander and Outlander plug-in hybrid. That's right, 0.99% for full 60 months and 90 days no payment.
And bring down your trade to receive up to $1,000 trade-in bonus cash on select models. Come see why Scottsdale Mitsubishi is your official inflation-fighting dealership. The name to remember, Scottsdale Mitsubishi, Scottsdale Mitsubishi.
Another Mark Auto Group dealership.
Check out the Doug Gottlieb Show, Monday through Friday, 1 to 3 p.m., right here on KDUS AM 1060.
Welcome back to the program, The Lunch Break, KDUS AM 1060. Chris Schubert here with you. Make sure you download the KDUS 1060 app so you can join the program. If your lunch break ends a little bit earlier than we are off the air, you can take it with you back to your desk, back to your office, however you may be listening to the show. You can do so on the KDUS 1060 app. So you can listen to us on the go. The podcasts are there. We're working on getting the video stuff up there as well. So you just have a one-stop shop for everything lunch break and everything that we've got going on here at KDUS AM 1060, and got a lot of fun stuff working behind the scenes that we will hopefully be able to reveal to you soon. Some new stuff that we will have for you. I want to get back into a story that we opened hour number 2 with, and I kind of went off the rails a little bit, getting upset at another story that was looking at the Cardinals as sellers and how I think that's just a ludicrous position to have at this stage of the season with where this team currently sits in the NFC West and what is still possible for this team this year, despite it not going all according to plan or it going swimmingly to start the year. But there was another part of the story that I thought was interesting. And the ESPN.com story that went through all 32 teams and looked at, is this team going to be an add, a subtract, or a sitting it out team? What are they going to do? And then who could be on the move? We talked about
the Cardinals being listed as subtracting with the chance to sit it out, and then Budda Baker being the player on the move. But there was a third question that was asked, and that question was, which player should they target? Now, this blurb was written by Ben Solak over at ESPN, who happens to be a former colleague of mine. So I know how Ben thinks a little bit. So I was intrigued to see the player that Ben listed as the player that they should target. And he had them targeting Browns corner Greg Newsome II. And he pointed out that he wasn't sure that the Browns would be interested in parting with Newsome, but the Cardinals should be on the phone to do so, that the Cardinals kind of need that CB1, and they have some young players that can surround a CB1 type like Greg Newsome in that corner room. I thought a very interesting, unique, out-of-the-box look at something the Cardinals might be able to do, although I don't know how realistic it is that Greg Newsome would be on the move for the Cleveland Browns, and he does point that out. I'm just surprised that it wasn't a pass rusher, that somebody who is looking at this team from a 10,000-foot view, that is removed from being in the day-to-day weeds like all of us are, that he airdropped into this team and looked at their roster and looked at who was performing and underperforming and looked at potential areas that they could address with players that are potentially available via a trade. And that algorithm, that equation ended up for Ben to be a corner. I think it would be incredibly easy from a 10,000-foot view perspective to look at this team and look at the depth and look at what they currently have and say, where is the pass rusher? Call the Browns about Myles Garrett. Call the Raiders about Max Crosby. Look for maybe some tier 2 or tier 3 pass rush help to just immediately get somebody in here that could help. So I'm surprised that with the benefit of just looking at this from a big picture perspective, that's not the area that immediately jumped off the page. And there's no mention of edge rusher. It's just all about Greg Newsome. And so I wonder if the reason why the default position for a lot of people right now is that the Cardinals should be sellers is that when they look at this roster from a big picture perspective, they just see too many things to address. And so the idea of adding doesn't make a whole lot of sense. And they see that Budda Baker is going to walk at the end of this year as a free agent. And so that the Cardinals would be wise to get something, because that's clearly what Jeremy Fowler's talking about. That Monty Ossenfort's trying to win now while also planning for the future. Do the Cardinals really need to get a draft pick from Budda Baker for their future? They have all of their draft capital next year. You can always add more picks. You can always have more swings, more lottery tickets to get good players into your building. I get that. There's nobody that loves the NFL draft in this building more than I do. I used to work in the NFL draft media space, okay? I watched the tape on players. I scout players, worked on podcasts discussing the NFL draft. So I love draft picks, love them, love to hold on to them, love to utilize them to get good players in my building. Draft picks are a good commodity to have in the NFL. We've talked about what they can provide to you in terms of swings at college players to help you, and also their value as commodities to trade for existing veteran players that can help you right now. There's a balance to strike, and I get that. But at some point, you have to do right by the team that is in front of you. And Monty Ossenfort has a team in front of him right now. And I'm going to sound like a broken record, but I'm sorry. This needs to be said because there are so many stories that are pointing out that this team needs to be a seller. This team is one game out of first place in the NFC West. Being in first place in the NFC West means the playoffs. It means a home playoff game. I don't care what record the Cardinals have. That is valuable. That is important. That is a culture-defining moment for a team that is still developing and cultivating their culture. This is year 2 for Monty Ossenfort and Jonathan Gannon. That would be a signature moment. Win, lose, or draw. That is a signature moment to have that you can build off of. We thought that was going to happen with Cliff Kingsbury when they got that playoff game. Now that they got blown out, and we should have recognized that was the sign of the beginning of the end. But I don't feel that way about Monty Ossenfort and Jonathan Gannon. I feel like that would be the launching pad. And so you have to do right by your team right now. You have to do right by your fan base right now. There is an appetite to watch a team compete in December. There is an appetite to not be the same old Cardinals. There is an appetite for a front office, for an organization, for a coaching staff to show a belief in the current roster that is foreign to the history of this team. Monty Ossenfort has an opportunity by doing literally nothing. He doesn't need to add. I'd like him to add. That is the official position of this show, to add. He doesn't need to, though. Just by standing pat and letting this process play out over the next couple of weeks, we could be talking about a team that is competing for first place in the NFC West and is hosting a playoff game, or we could be talking about a team that failed on an opportunity and failed on a moment to launch into the next chapter of this rebuild. That's what the next 3 or 4 weeks are for this team. They're either going to make the most of it and put themselves in a position to play meaningful football in December, or they aren't. But they have done enough up until this point to earn that opportunity. You can't sell now. This team 1-5 or 1-6, 2-5, we can have that conversation. But at 3-4, with the way that they won on Monday night, they have earned the opportunity to see this through over the next couple of weeks. And I don't think one win changes the trajectory of the way a front office thinks. But if they win this Sunday and they're 4-4, and it's 2 really solid wins against the Chargers and then the Dolphins, I think we would then really start to flip this to the other side of this team should be adding. This team should not be standing pat. They should reward the effort that this team has put together. And so I am just frustrated by the noise that surrounds this team right now, by the conversation that is had right now, that this team at 3-4 should sell. I just don't get it. I don't understand how that is a message that would resonate with this fan base. You would not like to hear that at 3-4, the season is already over. With 10 games to go, you can pack it up. This team is not going to do anything. They're actually instead going to sell off pieces to get more draft picks. You have to see this through. And you know what? It's a lot of conjecture from everybody outside. There is not a lot of noise from the people who cover this team closely on a daily basis that is the way the Cardinals are thinking. And I think that is extremely telling. And I think that if this goes the way I think it is going to go, from at least a philosophical perspective, that Monty Ossenfort is going to allow these guys to see this through. And that goes a long way towards building that winning culture. Now it's up to the team to be able to back up that belief in a big-time matchup this weekend against the Miami Dolphins. Coming up next, we will wrap up this edition of the Lunch Break, this week of the Lunch Break, with the leftovers. It's the Lunch Break, KDUS AM 1060.
Bringing you the latest sports topics weekly right here on KDUS AM 1060 with me, the Doug Gottlieb Show, 1 to 3 p.m.
The only thing worse than hiring no law firm after your injury is hiring the wrong law firm. And there are so many of them. When thousands of people call us every year asking to help them change law firms and hire us instead, I wonder why they ever called the other firm in the first place. They were smart to switch before it was too late. You only get one day in court. You know who has the resources and results to fight to handle your claim. And the big insurance company on the other side, they know it too. They know us well. You have to know when to hold them, know when to fold them, and know when to walk away. Walk our way. When you're fighting to get what you deserve, it's go big or go home. We are big for a reason, which is why we've recovered over $9 billion for our clients. When it comes to law, size matters. We're America's largest injury law firm, Morgan & Morgan. Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Looking to upgrade your home? The Window Depot is your go-to spot for Milgard windows and patio doors. Select from a variety of styles, including aluminum, vinyl, or fiberglass, to start your journey to a brighter, more beautiful home. The Window Depot has Milgard windows in stock, ready to go home today, or their team can help you with a special order. Whether you're looking for energy efficiency, aesthetic appeal, or custom solutions, they've got you covered. Build the home you deserve with Milgard windows and doors from the Window Depot. Visit thewindowdepot.com to find a location near you.
ZZ Top, the Elevation Tour. November 3rd, Talking Stick Resort. Playing all their classic hits. ZZ Top. On sale now at TalkingStickResort.com.
Hey, Phoenix, Doug Gottlieb here. I'm bringing the best sports talk weekdays to you, 1 to 3 p.m., right here on KDUS AM 1060.
Wrapping up this edition of the Lunch Break, KDUS AM 1060. We appreciate you making this show a part of your day. And the leftovers, where we get to all of the stories that maybe we didn't get to throughout the course of the program, or any late-breaking stories that we try to sneak in here before we get out of here on the lunch break. And one that just came across literally during the break. And I'm stunned by this because they have not played a game yet, so I'm surprised that this could even happen. But I'm going to read from a story on ESPN.com from new NBA insider Shams Charania, which is, again, going to have to get used to it not being Woj and it being Shams who's breaking stuff for ESPN. The NBA to investigate the 76ers over Joel Embiid's player participation. Now, when you hear that, I was very confused at first when I read the tweet. And then I saw that this is one of those new things that the NBA put in place. I believe it was last year, if not the year before, to kind of guard against the load management approach of when players sit out. Now, they haven't played a game yet. So how could he be in violation of this player participation rule if they haven't played a game yet? Now, he did not play in the preseason. The team called it left knee injury management, and he's going to miss 3 games this week. He's going to miss Wednesdays, which is today's season opener against the Milwaukee Bucks. He's going to miss Friday against the Raptors and Sunday against the Pacers. He is responding well to the plan, the 76ers said, and will ramp up his return to play activities this week, including going through scrimmages. This is part of the new normal for Embiid this season, according to sources. Strategize to keep the former NBA player healthy for the postseason. The plan has been expected to include periodic time off during the regular season and routine evaluations from doctors and the 76ers medical staff, those sources said. Look, I don't know, man. I get it. The NBA had a problem in the past of teams taking advantage of so-called load management, and star players would sit out the second game of the back-to-back, and you'd have most of those being on the road. And so you'd have opposing fan bases. I'll just use an example. If the 76ers were playing here and it was the second game of a back-to-back, maybe they would sit Embiid, and you have Suns fans who bought tickets for that game because they wanted to see the 76ers and they wanted to see Embiid not be able to do that. And that is a complaint, right? That is something that you have to worry about. At the end of the day, the NBA and all sports are an entertainment product. And part of the entertainment product is seeing these stars play. Now, the issue that I have with this is Joel Embiid is somebody who has a very lengthy injury history. I don't really think this is the 76ers trying to skirt a rule to try to get away with Joel Embiid, playing. They want him healthy because they're trying to compete. They're trying to win. Like, this feels like a very legitimate reason to use load management because he is unable to stay on the court and be healthy. Now, their president of basketball ops, Daryl Morey, told ESPN earlier this month that Philadelphia would try to keep both Embiid and Paul George out of back-to-backs this season. And so this probably raises
the red flag for the league to hear all this stuff, to see it out loud, to see all these games that he's already going to miss, and they're going to investigate it. But what are you going to do? Fine them? I mean, they need to do right by their organization. And yes, 76ers fans want to see Joel Embiid play. Other teams want to see Joel Embiid when the 76ers come into town. Like other teams' fans want to see that. But at the end of the day, the 76ers have to do what they believe is in the best interest of Joel Embiid's health and their ability to have Joel Embiid on the floor for the most important games of the year, which include the postseason. This is not, load management for a player who doesn't have an injury history and is just a star player. Like, I don't know if this is abuse of this rule by the 76ers. It might be. They might be trying to get away with something. But I just don't know what the happy medium is here between the NBA trying to do right by its fans and a team seeing a player who only played in 39 games last year because of knee injuries, played through the postseason and against the Knicks, hurt, and then played for Team USA this summer. I get it. I understand what the NBA is trying to guard against. But there is a balance where I don't think all of the teams are necessarily doing this for nefarious reasons. Like, I believe there is a good reason for the 76ers trying to do this. But here we are, the opening second night of the NBA season, and we're already dealing with this nonsense. Now, we had 2 NBA games last night. The Celtics beat up on the Knicks, set a new record, or they tied a 3-point record, 29 threes in a game, tying the NBA record as they beat the Knicks 132-109. And then it was all about LeBron and Bronny as they beat the Timberwolves 110-103. And then a bunch of teams in action tonight, including the Phoenix Suns. And if you missed it, you can catch any of our conversations here on the podcast feed or any of the good stuff. Makes it over to our YouTube channel, whether it's Suns, Diamondbacks, Cardinals, or overall football talk. We cut out some of the best moments from the show and we put it over there on the KDUS 1060 YouTube channel, so you can catch all of that stuff there. But one of the things we have been mentioning at large today, and it'll be our final thought here during the leftovers as the Phoenix Suns season gets underway here tonight, is that I believe the backdrop for this year should be through the lens of redemption. An organization that is looking for redemption, an organization that was 2 wins away just a few short years ago from hoisting the trophy, from being NBA champions, to a team that missed the mark in a big way last year, that disappointed what those expectations were. And I think from an even bigger picture perspective, watched as those expectations eroded as the year went on. There's a difference between not meeting the expectations where you're supposed to be a championship contender and you're supposed to make it to the finals and you get to the finals and you lose. Or you're supposed to be a team that makes noise and you're an early exit in the first round, but all throughout the year, the signs were there for you to be a great team. This Suns team slowly faded as the year went on. And I think as the year faded, the expectations that we had for this team faded as the year went on. And so by the time the postseason came around, the idea was, could you just win a series? Could you just be competitive? Like, that was what we thought was the realistic expectations by the time we got to the playoffs. And so there was redemption on the table. There was redemption for Devin Booker, who had a great summer with Team USA and the Olympics, had the national stage where he showed to the world that he is one of the best players in the NBA. He is looking for redemption to carrying the Phoenix Suns to a championship. Kevin Durant looking for redemption, looking for another title after bouncing around team to team to team, is looking for redemption. Bradley Beal, a player who is oft injured, who carries that tag of being a player that is unavailable to his team in those clutch moments. He is looking for redemption. The coach, Mike Budenholzer, looking for redemption. Championship caliber coach, but looking for another breakthrough moment as a coach. A front office, James Jones, looking for redemption, looking to show that the idea of doubling down on this team this year was the right, prudent, smart decision for this franchise. For Matt Ishbia, redemption to prove that he has this franchise on the course to being a sustainable winning franchise. There is redemption at every layer of this organization going into this year. That is what is at stake. That is what has been put on the table by this organization deciding to run it back this year. Will it work? We will see. I was skeptical for most of the offseason. They get Tyus Jones. They have a good draft. They have convinced me that they have addressed the things that I didn't think were going to be able to be addressed with the limitations that were on them as a second apron team. They found a way to get this stuff done. Kudos to the front office. Kudos to Matt Ishbia. Kudos to the buy-in from the players to make all of this work. And so I'm willing to give them another shot here. It's cautious. I'm going to be a little bit on the back foot here. But I think this team did enough this offseason in changing the coach and adding a point guard and adding a defensive-minded player like Ryan Dunn to where I think they have improved in the areas that lacked last year, and another year of Booker, Durant, and Beal should lead to some seriously good results. Will it lead to a championship? The Western Conference is tough. Get yourself in the dance, get that ticket, and allow this big three to show what they are made of in the postseason. Redeem yourself from a first-round sweep last year. So that's what's in front of the Phoenix Suns this season. And it might not look pretty in the early going. You have a new coach who brings with him a new system. You're going from a defensive-minded coach in Frank Vogel to an offensive-minded guy in Mike Budenholzer. You have a team that is going to shoot more threes. That is an adjustment for players who are mid-range type players to understand that philosophy, to understand what Mike Budenholzer wants this team to look like. So there is an adjustment there. And so there might be bumps along the road. This might not look pretty start to finish. And I look at a team that played last night, two teams that played last night in the New York Knicks and the Minnesota Timberwolves, two teams that made a trade with each other. Karl Anthony Towns goes to the Knicks. Dante DiVincenzo, Julius Randle go to the Timberwolves, and they lose their opening round or their opening night contests. Are we going to immediately write off the Minnesota Timberwolves in Minnesota? Are Knicks fans in New York immediately writing them off? No. Is there concern? Absolutely. New things take time to gel. You move into a new house, you start a new job. It takes time to settle in. I've only been here a couple of months. It took time. It took the first couple of weeks to settle in, to know where things were, to know where the bathroom is, to know where certain offices are for certain people that I have to ask certain things. Same thing with a sports organization. Oh, that's Karl Anthony Towns isn't here. It's now Julius Randle. He plays this game a little different. Okay, how does he play this game if you're Anthony Edwards? Oh, I've got Dante DiVincenzo now. Okay, what is his skill set? It takes time to learn those things. It's going to take time for Ryan Dunn to find his way into this lineup and to carve out that role for himself. It's going to take time for this team to learn how to defer to a veteran point guard handling the ball in the late stages of a game. There is a learning curve to a new coach with a new philosophy. All of that stuff takes time. We would love for it to look great out of the box. We would love for it to look amazing to start off this season. That would be great. That would almost be that sigh of relief if they came out tonight against the Clippers and looked awesome. You'd be like, wow, okay, this might work quicker than we thought. But don't be discouraged if it looks a little sloppy at times. Don't be discouraged if it takes a little bit for this to gel. Where this team needs to hit their peak, unlike they did last year, is post All-Star break. That's when they need to be ascending. That's where they need to really come together, and they need to be at their best. That is where there needs to be a lack of questions of can they put this together. We need to stop having those conversations by around the All-Star break. Because if we get to the All-Star break and we're having those questions, then I think we know the answer, because it's going to be very similar to the way we felt last year. And so give it time to develop. Give it time to look the way Mike Budenholzer wants it to look. Give it time for it to flow the way this organization thinks it's going to flow. Accept the bumps in the road early. Don't accept them late. But just know that the backdrop for this season is redemption. Can this team find the redemption as an organization that so many people desperately need? Can they get redemption with the fan base? Can they get redemption for themselves as players, coaches, front office personnel, as the owner? Can they find that redemption this season? If they don't, depending on how it looks, it's going to be a tough summer. It's going to be a summer full of hard questions we're going to have to answer. I don't think we will get there. I am buying into the redemption. And we will see that redemption opening act tonight. How does the opening act look? We will see. We appreciate you making this show a part of your day, however you may be listening, wherever you may be listening. Thank you very much. Hope everybody has a great week. Doug Gottlieb Show up next, and Rich Eisen and the Sports Zoo with Rooster. See everybody tomorrow. Lunch break. KDUS AM 1060.
AM 1060 KDUS Tempe Phoenix and KSLX HD2 Scottsdale Phoenix.